Okay, so this is the big blank wall we were talking about that we're going to be putting the corbel shelf on. And we don't have anything on this wall here as you enter the door. And then her closet is over there. Sorry.
So behind me, we're gonna do a corbel shelf that's gonna be a bookshelf for her designs. We don't have a ton of space. There's maybe 3 feet between the wall and the bed.
Yeah.
So a bookshelf really wouldn't work. So we're just gonna do a long shelf with corbels that she can put her books in. And then over here, it's gonna be a vanity. And it's gonna be a floating vanity, which will also give us some space saving. So it's gonna have a place for her to put like a little box for her makeup. We'll put a mirror and we'll push a stool underneath. And I think it'll turn out pretty cute.
Yep, should be nice and clean and not cluttered. I want to keep these corbels pretty basic. I don't want them to be ridiculously ornate. We may end up calling them the Odelias and selling them on the website. We'll see. But I'm just kind of doing a basic design, doing the layout on them here. And then I'll cut them out. And we'll paint them up. So when I have the design to this point, what I like to do is cut the board in half, and that way I can flip the design and basically get 2 sides out of 1 piece of wood here, so I don't waste much wood. And then I'll go ahead and do that times 3, because we're gonna have 3 corbels on this shelf. All right, so we have the corbels all made, and I've got the shelf cut out to 79 inches by 9 inches. And this is just blue stained pine that my dad milled. It's got kind of a live edge, so I'm gonna leave it like that. We're gonna be staining it with real stain number 2. We like this stain because it's all natural, it's got no VOCs, it's food safe. We use it on like cutting boards and rolling pins, all kinds of stuff. It's really good, we love it. It's water soluble, so I can use my brush here. And Odelia is going to stain these corbels. It'll dry in about 15 minutes. It's hot in the summertime here. It might take 20 in the winter or in more humid climates, but it dries pretty quick. Odelia used the real stain number 2 on these corbels, and they're dry now. This is just regular common board pine. This is what it would look like. I'm going to use lacquer to create a resist. We're going to be milk painting these, and we want them to get a little bit chippy. So we're going to put the lacquer on first, and then let that dry, and then we'll paint them, and that'll give us some resist instead of just painting them on this bare stained wood without any sealer, because when we go to distress them, it would just soak in too much. It wouldn't get very chippy. And we want the paint to chip a little bit more than it normally would for this particular finish that we're going for on these shelves. The stain on the top of the shelf is now dry. I'm going to seal it up with some DIY Big Top. It'll give us a nice, almost a satin sheen, and be really durable for her for a lot of years to come. I'm using my Zebra Palm Pro brush. This is the same brush we use to stain the boards. I've just rinsed it out, and this is our contaminated stain Big Top that Jamie used the other day. So no big deal, I'm not gonna worry about contaminating this because she already did a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hurry and put this on, and then I'll go over it with my brush and smooth it out.
We mixed up Sweet Pickins milk paint with First Crush, and we mixed window pane. First Crush is really close to Petticoat Pink, and the window pane is the closest milk paint to vintage linen. We used milk paint because it crackles and chips a little bit more authentically, kind of all on its own.
Yeah.
And you did spray these down with lacquer, with the spray can of lacquer, and that's the perfect way to treat raw wood, so that way it will actually chip and crackle. Otherwise, if you don't, it'll just soak right into that raw wood and it won't chip at all. First things first, I'm going to paint the outside of this pink, and then I'm going to hand it off to Zeb, and he's going to paint the middle stripe with window pane. I'm using the Paint Pixie 1 1/4, and he's using the French round, which is good for detail work. We're not really worried about perfection because it's going to chip off anyways, and we're not going to be painting the back or the top because this is going to be used for a shelf.
The reason we're using First Crush is because we asked what color we should do, and it was kind of a tie between Apothecary, which is what we used on the nightstands, and a pink color to tie in with the wallpaper that we've got with the vinyl. And Odelia was the tiebreaker because we had about even on all the voting, and she was like, I want pink, so that won.
Okay, Odelia chose pink, so that's what we're getting, and I'm not sad because I actually love pink. So I'm happy to incorporate it.
And we're going to be leaving the top of the shelf just the natural stained look. And then with the white stripe, we're hoping to pull some of that color from the bed, from the headboard, across to the other side of the room. I don't know how much it'll actually be visible. I just thought it'd be two-tone would be cool. If it doesn't look good, we'll just paint over it with some pink and done.
Yeah, let the record show that the white stripe was Zeb's idea.
I thought it would be cool.
It probably will be. Most of your ideas are pretty good.
Some days are better than others. So we're not painting the backs because that's gonna go up against the wall. If these were gonna just be decor, we would paint the entire corbel so it could be used like a bookend or just sitting around on something.
When we paint them to sell, we paint all angles because we never know what people are gonna use them for. But in this case, we're not. And you can buy them unfinished too. This is gonna be the Odelia corbel. I don't know if you've talked about that.
I haven't. This
is the Odelia corbel, and it is available on our website. You can buy them painted in a chippy white or chippy green or unfinished to do your own look. And they are going to be $28 for the pair. If you buy them unfinished, you save 10%.
All right, so the brush didn't fit perfectly down in there. It was a little large. When Jamie goes over with her second coat of first cut crush, she'll cover all that up.
Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but we have no extra bond. Because this is raw wood, we would not get any chipping if we added bond. Zeb already went ahead and painted the second coat of window pane, and that's fully covered now. So I'm just gonna come up, put a second coat on the outside, and I'm just gonna paint the edges. I'm not gonna worry about inside. It's chippy time, so I'm gonna put my mask on, use my orbital sander with my 220 sandpaper, and we're gonna see what happens. On these little details, I like to just take my 220 off and then come in and hand sand them. So I can get down in all the nooks and crannies.
I'm just sealing this with some DIY Big Top, and that's gonna make that color deepen just a little bit and also make kind of the wood tones be a little bit darker. It's gonna make everything pop a little more. So I'm measuring where to put the shelf. I think I'm gonna go about 65 inches so she doesn't bonk her head on it when she's walking by it. Here, Odelia, turn around and reach up and let me see how high your reach is. Okay, so she'll be able to get the books off the shelf no problem and not hit her head when she's walking by, hopefully. In a recent video that we did with Debbie's design diary, I put some corbels on her wall and I used a keyhole bit in my router to make the holes. What this does is it goes down in and then you can go up and it makes a little slot for the screw or nail to slide in. But someone asked me, how do I hang it if I don't have that? Because we don't put that on these when you order them from us, mostly because a lot of people aren't hanging them and we want to just be able to use them as decor without the holes in them. So if you want to hang yours and make a shelf out of them, an easy way to do that without using the keyhole, just a standard drill bit. This is 5/16. What I'm going to do is drill up at an angle like this in a couple of places, probably about a half an inch in, 5/8 of an inch in, and then I will put my screws in the wall where I want to hang it and then slide the corbel onto that angled screw and that'll hold it really secure. Also, if you wanted to use them, let's say you wanted to use them on a kitchen island or something like that. So what I've done is I usually take my nail gun, the pneumatic nailer, and I'll just toenail them in at an angle, just right in through here. And you could also screw them in, but make sure you're able to repaint or do whatever finish you want to do on them because you'll want to fill those with putty. One last option is to drill in from the top here and then just put it in before you put your shelf top on. All right, so I just used my little $15 stud finder. This is where the edge of the shelf is. And I've got a stud right here about 4 1/4 inches in. So I measured in, made sure that the other corbel went in the same way. I don't have a stud on the other side, so I had to anchor that. But this one here, I'm gonna put into a stud. So then I just took a level, made sure that my lines were all lined up, and then measured down 2 inches and 4 inches so it matched the corbel from the top of the corbel where I put those holes, and marked where I need to put these screws into the stud. And these are just 2-inch drywall screws. I'm just putting them in at a little angle here. So I've got the screws in. I'm just gonna leave them hanging out just a little bit so that this, so see where I've got these holes here? I'm gonna slide those on. Just gonna position these, slide them in until it's snug against the wall. And that's not gonna go anywhere. So the center corbel, I've measured up to my height, and then I've measured in. The center is gonna be 35 1/4 inches on my shelf. Then from this mark here, I'm just gonna measure down 2 and 4 inches. That's where my screws are gonna go. I need to anchor these ones, so I've just got some wall anchors that I'm gonna put in there, and I'm gonna put them in just at a little bit of an angle.
The bookshelf is up. It looks really great. It's a little bare for now, but make sure you hit that notifications button because in the next video, we're gonna show you how to make some one-of-a-kind artwork. It's a good idea for design that you can incorporate whatever your kid's favorite interest is and also make it look good.
So starting out, we stained the shelf and the corbels with Real Stain number 2, and then we painted the corbels with First Crush and window pane down the center of the corbels in Sweet Pickins milk paint. Then we sealed everything with DIY Big Top, and it gave it a nice, almost matte, kind of in between matte and satin sheen. And it's gonna be really durable for setting stuff on there. If she puts a cup on there, it's not gonna mess with it.
No
It'll be all right.
Don't forget that you're gonna wanna use lacquer in between the stain and the milk paint so that way you have a little bit of resistance for chipping. A tip is if you go ahead and lacquer it and then milk paint it before the lacquer is completely cured, when it's just a little bit tacky, you can actually get more chipping and crackle than we got on. Then we waited just a little bit too long.
Yeah, it was hot, it dried real fast.
Be sure to comment below with any questions that you have. Also, we're looking for advice on what you think we should put on this shelf besides books. I'm kind of at a loss, so comment below with any of your ideas for the bookshelf. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.